What's poppin' YouTube? Hoodie Curry here. Today, we're going to be doing we're going to be doing something Sunday. My mom messed up. My mom did an oopsie. We're not doing well. We're doing videos because on the last one, yeah. My mom accidentally said something that I'm not putting on YouTube. Alright, let's see. Minute video. My favorite teacher turned into my worst nightmare. Shocker. A dark shadow followed me into the basement. I'll think about that. I'm not going to say that word because I don't know what it means. Made the boys dress up as girls for Instagram. How I became a gold digger. You just had a thing for golden stuff. I passed out at work, probably because she was an alcoholic. My mom called the police on everyone in our family. I'm gonna do that.
You know, you're never good to me. Why do I have a daughter who steals from her father? I have never liked you. I don't know why you were born in the first place.
Jeez,
were the last words I heard from my mother. I was 5 years old at the time, and I'm 13 now. 13 is still a young age, but I've seen and heard things that I am sure no 13-year-old can imagine. It all started when I was only a year and a half years old. I was living in a decent-sized house with 9 other people, with 5 other animals, and with visitors every single day. But I don't remember much of that time.
You live in your family's a cult. No, I'm just joking.
I mean, I was only 1. But I remember I was amazed when I heard that I would be becoming a big sister. But one more addition to the household was just too much. So my grandparents moved us to a flat in a nearby.
Alright, guys. My baby brother's yelling at me. Hold on, Spencer, come here! Hi! Spencer, come here! Mom! Is it okay if I show Spencer to YouTube? No. Aw, please, Mom? No. Oh wait, I already showed Spencer's face on YouTube. Guys, I showed Spencer's face anyway. If you go look at Endgame review and you'll see Spencer. You gotta flip through the video. Oh! Ow! My headset caught my head.
By town, where it was just me, my mom, and my dad in the tiny space. While it sounded peaceful to get away from all the constant action at the house before, things started to go wrong, terribly wrong. My mother started getting terrible pains in her back, and once she'd had enough, she visited the doctors. They gave her a drug to help soothe the pain, and, well, it worked. Although it sounds awful to say, I wish it hadn't worked at all. I wish she had suffered the pain in her back, because then she wouldn't have to suffer for the rest of her life following the pain.
Can I lower the volume? I'm gonna lower the volume a little bit. Sorry, y'all. Yeah, I don't know.
First, it was 1 dose a day, then 2, then 3, until she was raging at the doctors for more. When they kicked her out of the lobby, she didn't stop there. Sometimes, being determined is not always the best thing. She drove to the city and scrounged on the streets until somebody sold her more pills. My dad was furious, and right after my brother was born, they were divorced without hesitation. My mother moved to the city and into a small apartment alone, even though she didn't have any money from spending it all on drugs. It was like the sunlight never shone through for a year or 2 after that. I don't remember much of that time either, until I turned 4. Me and my brother would visit our mom in the city over the weekends. Of course, being so small at the time, we didn't see anything wrong. She was our mother, and we couldn't see her as anybody else. But she didn't treat us right. She smoked non-stop, such that the apartment constantly had thick, smoggy air. My brother and I were told to stay in our rooms for hours at a time, and we were forbidden from seeing each other. If we got caught passing drawings we had made under the locked door connecting our bedrooms, our mom would yell at my brother, but not me. At night, she would read me stories and tuck me in like a normal, caring mother would any child. But this wasn't every night. Some nights we would be hiding as she warned us that there were dangerous people outside, when she really was the dangerous one. She would cuss at the neighbors and threaten to call the police on them for just standing outside. In fact, it seemed like the police was always her backup plan. Sometimes when I slept over at my grandmother's house, she'd call the police and tell them my grandparents were beating me. So at midnight, I would be called downstairs by my grandma, and the police would have to inspect my legs. Another time, the police came for my dad. We were all at our flat, and she called the police for no good reason yet again. They took my dad, and I remember the tears rolling down my cheeks, but he smiled and mouthed that everything would be alright as my mom held my wrist to keep me from running after him. My mom had a boyfriend too, and he was always kind. My brother and I would always play hide and seek in his department store, but my mom even called the police on him too. The cops handcuffed him and he screamed and cried in terror. You have to remember, I was only 4. 4-year-olds shouldn't see the police this often or see tears so much.
Big facts.
I didn't seem like a child to her. I was used by her to steal from my dad and give her money. I didn't know any better. I mean, she was my mom, right? But really, deep down inside, I'm positive I was petrified. The last time I ever talked to her, I had just moved, and it was the night of my 5th birthday. She was kind at first, asking me how my birthday party was and what kind of cake I had. But then she tried to ask me things like where I lived, but I told her my dad told me not to tell her. There was a long pause, and then the words that changed my life forever came.
Get ready.
You know, you're never good to me. Why do I have a daughter who steals from her father?
Because you make her, and she's that's the second. That answers your second question. Hold on, my space bars. No, even. All right, whatever. And then first question. She's never good to you because you're calling the police on everyone for no apparent reason.
I have never liked you. I don't know why you were ever born in the first place.
That was you. I think.
She yelled. I cried, and my grandma snatched the phone away and started to yell at her. But I could only hear a blur of noise in the background. It's been almost 9 years since that day. I haven't heard from her or seen her since.
If she was 4, then she's 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. She's a 13-year-old.
And I don't think I will ever again. I'm scared she'll hurt me or my family, and I'm not sure I would ever want to see her again. But after all these years, I realized that she did this to herself. She was foolish, and she lost everything because of that. She taught me a lesson, not to be like her. It's a shame that this is what I have to remember from the times with my mother who wasn't a mother to me. I don't know where she is today. Jail, on the streets, or maybe not even alive. But I do know one thing, that reality is heart-wrenching. But if you are strong, you can make it out alive, just like I did.
Yeah. That was sad. Hey guys. I don't know what to say. If you guys are suffering from these kind of situations, I became an orphan overnight. Oh, I feel bad for it. I want to leave my boyfriend behind, but I'm scared of him. Alright, yeah. That's gonna be the end of the postponed something Sunday. If my Minecraft HUD bar and all that stuff is showing, I'll play Minecraft, okay? However, if it's not, if it is showing, then like, yeah, we'll play Minecraft. But yeah, bye guys.